Dear learners, welcome to another interesting lecture on dietary diversity, tools and approaches. I am Dr. R. Padmaja, a senior scientist at the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics based in Hyderabad, India. I will be joined by Ms. K. Kavita, who will explain to you some concepts of dietary diversity in a greater detail. Now, in this lecture, Kavita and myself will explain to you what is meant by dietary diversity and why it can be used as a tool for understanding and providing information about nutritional outcomes. There are a series of lectures on topics related to diet diversity, health and nutrition in block 2 of this course. Hope you have already listened to all those lectures. This lecture will provide you a greater understanding about dietary diversity as a tool and as an approach. Our learning objectives for this lecture are twofold. A is to learn dietary diversity as an important nutrition assessment tool among the communities to bring changes in their diets for better nutritional outcomes, and B to understand several approaches involved in utilizing dietary diversity as a tool in the communities. Indicators of dietary diversity are considered to be useful as measures of impact for programs designed to address nutrition through agricultural pathways and any other pathway. Now, in this slide, we go through the definition of dietary diversity and how it influences the health of the individuals in the community towards their well-being. Proper nutrition is an essential aspect of a healthy lifestyle and disease prevention. An inadequate micronutrient intake or lack of dietary diversity, as it is commonly called, is a global challenge, and it is a direct outcome of the inability to obtain nutrient-rich, well-balanced food. Dietary diversity is a key measure of sustainable diets and is currently being considered as one of the principal sustainable diet indicators for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. Understanding dietary diversity may be a convenient pathway to evaluate inadequate micronutrient and household level food security, sustainable dietary practices and food pattern changes. For those reasons, improving dietary diversity has been proposed as one approach to micronutrient deficiency and food insecurity by the Food and Agriculture Organization or FAO. Some studies have shown that dietary diversity can promote a healthy weight, improve nutritional status and foster a healthier lifestyle. It has also been shown to improve food security, and it is associated with high agrobiodiversity and high food self-sufficiency. Although dietary diversity is universally recognized as a vital component of healthy foods, diet diversity is not yet used as a dimension of diet quality, and there is lack of consensus to operate and evaluate it. Now, let's try to understand what the conceptual framework is for measuring dietary diversity as well. Dietary diversification is a recommended approach to alleviate nutritional problems resulting from food insecurity and inadequate intake of micronutrients. Dietary diversity is essential to nutrient adequacy, as there is no single food other than breast milk for the first 6 months of the life that contains all the nutrients required to maintain good health and nutritional status. Consuming a variety of foods among and within food groups is a recommended strategy to help ensure adequate intake of micronutrients. As you can see from this slide, the interlinkages and the conceptual framework for measuring dietary diversity is explained here. Dietary diversity is therefore a key element of high quality diets, and the recommendation to consume a variety of food appears in many nutritional guidelines. Monotonous diets based mainly on grains, roots and tubers are common in areas of high food insecurity and contribute to the burden of malnutrition. Now, let's learn about the significance of dietary diversity. Different foods and food groups are good sources of various macro and micronutrients, So, a diverse diet ensures nutrient adequacy. Now, what do we mean by macro and micronutrients are already elucidated in previous lectures. However, for your understanding, macronutrients mean carbohydrates, proteins and fats, whereas micronutrients refer to vitamins and minerals. While measuring energy and nutrient intake would ideally rely on observed and weighed food records, such data collection is expensive, it may be impractical in some occasions, and may change the behavior of people being observed. Instead, most information reflects recall of diet intake at the individual level or recall of economic access to food at the household level. So, a diverse diet is most likely to meet both the known as well as the yet unknown needs of diets for human health. Now, let us go into how dietary diversity is being measured. The Household Dietary Questionnaire represents a rapid, user-friendly and easily administered low-cost assessment tool. Scoring and analysis of the information collected with the questionnaire is straightforward. You will see the questionnaire in the subsequent slides. The Household Dietary Diversity Score described in the guideline consists of a simple count of food groups that a household has consumed over the preceding 24 hours. As depicted in the slide, the FAO guidelines describe the use of dietary diversity questionnaire at the household level. The data collected can also be analyzed to provide information on specific food groups of interest. The Household Dietary Diversity Score, or HDDS as it is commonly called, is meant to reflect in a snapshot form the economic availability of a household to access a variety of foods. Studies have shown that an increase in dietary diversity is associated with socioeconomic status and household food security. Now, let us understand when do we need to collect dietary diversity data. The scores that reflect dietary diversity are key elements to any comprehensive analysis of the food security situation at the individual, household or community level. Now, let us learn to understand when to collect dietary diversity data. As you can see from the slide, there are different occasions when we can and should be collecting dietary diversity data. The 4 boxes give you some examples of when we can collect dietary diversity data. Now, in the 4 boxes, you can see that you would be arriving at some scores. The scores that reflect dietary diversity are key elements to the comprehensive analysis of the food security situation at the individual, household or community level. Both HDDS and food security scores, but not the individual dietary diversity scores, are used to identify food access and consumption problems at the population level. All scores can also be used as part of any food security and nutrition information system at the regional or national level. They can help in early warning systems and in targeting of interventions. They are also used at the community level for the evaluation of programs aiming at improving population's food security and nutrition. However, scores to capture dietary diversity still need further standardization to be used at the global level. Also, they shouldn't be used alone as they reflect only part of the food and nutrition security components, that is food consumption. Now, let us look at what are the different types of dietary diversity. Dietary diversity is thought to reflect the adequate intake of essential nutrients either at the household level or, as I have told earlier, HDD. It can be measured by the household level score, that is HDDS, or by a food consumption score, which is called FCS, or at the individual level, which is IDD, in which case it can be measured by an IDD score called IDDS. The scores that reflect dietary diversity are key elements to any comprehensive analysis as mentioned earlier. Now, the different types of dietary diversity are, as I have said, therefore, to summarize, can be at the household level or the HDDS, at the individual level it can be the IDDS. Also, it can also be used specially for women, which is called the minimum dietary diversity score for women of reproductive age, as can be seen in the slide. Now, let us look at what are the different types of diet diversity indicators. So, there are three different measures of diet diversity scores or indicators. The first one and the most commonly used is the count based measures. Two common count based measures of dietary diversity are the food variety score or FVS and the diet diversity score or the DDS. Now, the diet diversity score can be at the household level, then it is HDDS, or at the individual level, then it becomes an IDDS. An FVS is a count of all foods consumed during a specific recall period. A DDS collapses the same foods by food group and then counts the number of food groups that were consumed during a given recall period. A second method is the frequency based measures. Now, food frequency indicators provide a count of how often, on an average, different food items are consumed over a given recall period. Frequency based measures of diet diversity can be qualitative, semi-quantitative or quantitative in design. The last approach is the weighed food records. Now, this is an expensive methodology. This method is based on the weighing of different foods that are prepared and consumed by the individual or the household. Foods and individual ingredients are weighed before being cooked. Detailed records are typically collected anywhere from 1 to 7 days. However, as I have mentioned earlier, this is an expensive methodology, sometimes not possible, and also an enumerator bias can creep in because individuals would become cautious of their diet consumption in the presence of a different person other than their family member. As I have mentioned earlier, let us now see how the dietary diversity score data is collected from the communities or the individuals.
As indicated by Dr. R. Padmaja, I am K. Kavita, also from ICRISAT. One of the most widely used metrics is the FAO's dietary diversity score. It is a simple count of food groups consumed during the previous 24 hours. As you can see from the slide, the tool for collecting data on household dietary diversity score and individual dietary diversity score is explained. The tool consists of list of 16 food groups. The enumerator should write down all the foods that the respondent ate or drank yesterday during the day and night, whether at home or outside the home. And always start with the first food or drink of the morning. When composite dishes are mentioned, ask for the list of ingredients. And also, when the respondent has finished, probe for meals and snacks not mentioned. I would want to reiterate once again that dietary diversity is a count-based measure. HDDS and IDDS are simple count of all food groups consumed. Each food group is given a score of 1 if at least one food item within that food group has been consumed. If no food item within the food group has been consumed, it gets a score of 0. As you can see from the slide, the tabulation for IDDS is also similar. Coming to the FAO's dietary diversity score that can be computed at the level of household. In contrast to the IDDS, the HDDS reflects households' economic access to food. The key differences in the components and computation of the dietary diversity scores discussed in the slide is the total number of food groups considered and their treatment of foods consumed outside the household. When computed at the level of an individual, the score is considered to be a proxy for nutrient adequacy. Coming to the comparison between HDDS versus IDDS. At the household level, scores are mainly used as proxies of food security, and they are correlated to the energy adequacies of intakes, that is, to the ability of the household to cover basic energy needs of its members. They have been shown to be associated with various other measures of household food security related to access. However, they are not directly related to the nutritional status of household members. IDD is more a proxy of nutrient, mainly micronutrient adequacy of the diet of an individual. It has been shown to be associated with the mean micronutrient adequacy of the diet of both breastfed and non-breastfed children, of adolescents and of adults as well. IDD has also been shown to be associated with the nutritional status of individuals, especially for children under 5 and women, after controlling for confounding socio-economic factors. All DD scores are relevant for assessment, that is situational analysis and diagnosis, monitoring and evaluation of food security situation. Despite the relationship between IDD and individual nutritional status, the use of such an indicator for nutrition situation assessment, monitoring and evaluation is still in debate. One of the most widely used metrics is the FAO's dietary diversity score. It is a simple count of food groups consumed during the previous 24 hours. The present slide shows the different dietary diversity scores available. When computed at the level of an individual, IDDS, the score is considered to be a proxy for nutrient adequacy. Micronutrient adequacy, specifically in women of age 15 to 49 years old, is reflected in the Women's Dietary Diversity Score. More recently, the FAO and FANTA have introduced the Minimum Dietary Diversity for Women MDDW indicator, which collapses the individual dietary diversity scores to a dichotomous score based on whether or not a given minimum number of food groups are consumed. FAO's dietary diversity scores can also be computed at the level of household. In contrast to the IDDS, the HDDS reflects households' economic access to food as indicated earlier. The key differences in the components and computation of dietary diversity scores discussed above is the total number of food groups considered and their treatment of foods consumed outside the household. Now let us move on to a case study of how dietary diversity can be used as a tool to understand the healthy eating habits in households. In this case, we have taken Tanzania. Tanzania is one of the sub-Saharan African countries facing both undernutrition and obesity problems, where limited dietary diversity is a major challenge. The burden of undernutrition is greater in rural settings where households depend on seasonal crop yields and with poor post-harvest storage facilities. While we have understood that dietary diversity is positively linked with pillars of food security, that is availability, access and utilization, households are food secure when they have access throughout the year to adequate quantities and a variety of safe foods that their members require for active and healthy life. The ability of resources in household can predict household dietary diversity. As you can see in this slide, the tool or the questionnaire gathered information on demographic and socio-economic characteristics of the parents such as marital status, mother or caregiver education, occupation of the respondent, number of people living in the household and the size of cultivated land, etc. The household dietary diversity was collected through a 24-hour dietary recall adapted from United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization. It was adapted to reflect food names and items that were common in Tanzania and the study site. Finally, the factors like household income, size, gender and educational level have been found to be associated with dietary diversity. And therefore, understanding the factors associated with dietary diversity is a significant step in improving healthy eating habits in households in low and middle income settings.
Thanks, Kavita, for the detailed understanding of how to use the HDDS and the IDDS and its computations using a case study as well. Several approaches have been tried to create awareness on the significance of dietary diversity, and My Healthy Plate for the Day has been one of the initiative. No food or nutrition supplement can provide as many micronutrients, bioactive compounds, antioxidants together as the diversified food items depicted in the model plate. The plate typically illustrates proportion of foods from different food groups to be sourced for a 2000 kilocalorie of Indian diet. The plate, designed by ICMR, the National Institute of Nutrition, recommends sourcing of macronutrients and micronutrients from minimum of 8 food groups per day, with vegetables, fruits, green leafy vegetables forming essentially half the plate of the recommended foods per day. The other major portion is occupied by cereals and millets, followed by pulses and milk and or curd. The amount of pulses and milk in the menu provides a good quality protein and supply of all essential amino acids. Milk and milk products represented in a glass as a part of the model plate help to achieve the required protein, calcium, and are the sole source of vitamin B12 in a vegetarian diet. The plate has been designed on the basis of recommended dietary allowances or RDA guidelines for Indians and actual dietary consumption patterns of Indians, with the goal to guide people to achieve a balanced diet sourcing from different food groups. Now let's move a little further in this discussion. We know that gender equality and good nutrition in women and adolescent girls are prerequisites for the implementation and achievement of all 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals, and not only SDG 2, 3 and 5, where the importance is explicitly stated and measured. As the first dietary diversity indicator validated to collect comparable data on women of reproductive age across countries, MDDW, or the Minimum Dietary Diversity for Women, provides a springboard to take action in the right direction. Now, women of reproductive age are often nutritionally vulnerable because of the physiological demands of pregnancy and lactation. Requirements for most nutrients are higher for pregnant and lactating women than for an adult man. The minimum dietary diversity for women is a food-based diversity indicator that has been shown to reflect one key dimension of diet quality, that is, micronutrient adequacy, summarized across 11 micronutrients. These vulnerabilities and gaps in micronutrient intakes have long been recognized, along with decades of appeals to improve the quality of women's diet and nutrition. Diet quality is multidimensional, and promotion of diverse diets is one of the several approaches taken to improve micronutrient nutrition for women of reproductive age group and to contribute to sustainable healthy diets. Regardless of whether other strategies for improving nutrition are in place, consumption of food items from diverse food groups can be safely and universally recommended, as is increasing the corresponding availability and accessibility of nutrients-dense food groups. Now, MDDW may be considered as a measurement tool in the context of program and policy when the impact pathways indicate the potential to increase food group diversity and contribute to healthy diets for women of reproductive age. Many agricultural and health sector projects may improve nutrition, but not all will do so by increasing food group diversity. There is enough evidence that dietary diversity may be improved by interventions with the following objectives: women's empowerment, that is time, labor, assets and control over income; increased women's income; nutrition knowledge and norms; on-farm availability and diversity of crops. Here, the framework identifies 4 outcome areas that can affect MDDW through agriculture, rural development and food systems. Now, the MDDW indicator is a dichotomous indicator, meaning that it returns the value yes or no. A woman achieves minimum dietary diversity if she consumes at least 5 different food groups during the previous day or night and no otherwise. The MDDW indicator was validated against the probability of adequacy of these 11 micronutrients using 9 data sets in 6 countries. It is important to note that when using MDDW, the food groups should not be changed as they are validated against micronutrient values, and any changes would risk erroneous results and interpretation and create confusion with other indicators. Also, it needs to be remembered that MDW can be calculated for women between the ages of 15 to 49 years of age. So, those who have not yet reached their 50th birthday can be included in this measurements. The main strength of dietary diversity indicators is that they are very simple tools that can be used easily by local staff. They can also be analyzed and interpreted at a decentralized level. Even if there is still some lack of standardization, such indicators are very useful at the local or national level for targeting, monitoring and evaluation purposes. Thus, to summarize from the slide, the strengths of a dietary diversity tool or approach is A. It is relatively easy to use and integrate as a short module into other surveys. It requires fewer resources than attempting to measure quantitative dietary consumption data for nutrient adequacy. Third, calculating the scores is a straightforward process, and training others to collect this data does not require a large amount of time and practice. And lastly, dietary diversity scores can give an idea of what types of food are consumed and where the gaps are. However, there are some limitations of the dietary diversity as a tool as well. Some of these include the modules usually require tailoring to specific contexts, so hence it is to be customized as per the context. Also, scores often do not provide detailed information on the quantitative intakes and therefore are not a direct measure of nutrient adequacy. And lastly, household level dietary diversity scores do not provide information on individual household members and cannot be used to draw conclusions about individuals. Seasonality is always an issue for dietary diversity assessment due to the seasonal availability of certain foods. For comparative purposes, scores or indices must be collected at the same period of the year, or for understanding seasonality, they should be collected at different points of the year so that we can understand seasonality better. In a case of a unique assessment, there is still a debate on the most appropriate season. Diet diversity scores on 24-hour recall, either at the household or individual level, are proxies for habitual diet. They give a picture of the dietary diversity at the community level also. No individual or household level targeting can be done based on these scores alone. Hence, these scores should always be accompanied by other indicators as well. Now, lastly, to conclude, dietary diversity as a measure of household food access and food consumption can be triangulated with other food related information to contribute towards providing a holistic picture of the food and nutrition security status in a community or across a broader area. Dietary diversity questionnaires are increasingly being included in food and nutrition security surveys to provide indicators of household food access or individual dietary quality. Some examples where dietary diversity questionnaires could be included in the context of food and nutrition security assessment are baseline and impact assessment in the framework of nutrition and food security programs, national surveys, surveillance systems, monitoring and evaluation of programs and policies, emergency or routine food security analysis, or classification for identifying emergencies. So, these are some of the occasions where dietary diversity questionnaires can be used to collect information about the quality of the diets. Please refer to the references that are given in the slide for a more detailed understanding of dietary diversity as a tool and approach in creating the evidence base for bringing about better nutritional outcomes. Also, there are a number of learning videos that are available, as you can see from this slide, which will give you a better understanding of dietary diversity as a tool.
We are working collectively with several partners, as you can see from this slide, to bring about lectures for you. Thank you, dear learners. Hope you
you're
enjoyed this
enjoying our
lecture.
lectures in all the blogs. Happy learning, dear learners.